Assalamu alaikum students, hope all of you are doing very well. Here in the geography we are going to continue our topic, that is the transport and its importance for the month of the February that was left. Here are certain objectives which I would like to discuss with you here in the chapter. You will be able to know about the movement of goods, to know about the impact of the information technology on our transport, to know about national and international routes of Pakistan, their impact on the industries. If you remember that we have been discussed before some of the very and the major points, that is about the transporting people and goods around the world. We also discussed about the history, the impact of the transportation in the history as well, the movement of the people, why do people prefer to move from one place to another place. There were three reasons we discussed: tourism, migration, and work. When we talk about the movement of the goods, here you can see that we are taking goods through different ways and through different means in the world, right? That is the ship, by aircrafts, trucks, and trains. So ships transport the bulk of goods around the world, which is not surprising given the two-thirds of the earth is covered by water. As we know that we have a huge amount of water in the world, and we are using it and utilizing it. As far as our history is concerned, you can find when the Portuguese came in the subcontinent and they started their navigation system through the sea, and they continued their trading system as well. And you can also say that they actually introduced the trading system in the world. Decisions we will discuss here on how to move goods around the world depend on many factors. These are the very major factors we are going to follow in the whole chapter. The destination where you are going to send your goods, right? The cost, for how cost you are going to continue your trade with the other countries. Urgency and the length of the time the goods can last without any delay, and how much time is required to send your goods, and we have to follow it for the time and for the cost. If it is taking less cost, right, you will prefer the ship as well, or if you are taking for the less time period, you are sending good for the in a limited time period, so you will follow the air route as well. So most transport of goods by road takes place domestically. Obviously city to city we are using roads, right, for transportation of the goods. We can see international level, ancient Silk Route provide a trade network to many Asian countries as well as Europe, Africa, and Asian countries through maritime routes. Ship is a cheaper way of goods transport for large area, for the large scale trading at a time than airplanes. They also have lower fuel cost as compared to airlines, as we know that it is taking less fuel. But despite the greater cost, it helps to send goods more quickly. Example, fresh food and seafood from Australia to Japan, China, and USA. Right, as we can see that Australia is a big importer for the Japan, China, and USA as far as seafood is concerned. So cargo ships are now dealing with the perishable and the fresh goods by designing refrigerated containers. So they have designed a huge and a big refrigerated system in the ships, so that easily we can carry goods, the fresh goods, from one place to another place, or from one country to another country and other continent as well. It is also only happening due to the innovations in the transport system. As we can see that the transportation system is changing there day by day. There are different enhancements in the technology is going on. In past, food was only available at certain times of the year, but now are available all around the world, right? We can find that now we can easily carry the goods, whether it is it is available for a certain time period as well. Now we are going towards the transport and information technology. First, before I start the transport and information technology, here you can see the GPS system that is very important for us nowadays. As we are using Uber and Kareem for our transportation and daily routine, you can find that they are using GPS system. They are having their mobiles and they can easily get the way to, they easily find out the way where they have to reach at their particular destination. So, information technology has had an enormous effect on the transportation system. It has made journey faster and more accurate. Right, today the global positioning system guides much of the transport on the earth. We can see the images, the signals, right? It makes up the GPS come from the space that is actually based on the satellite system, and the people who are driving their cars, the drivers, pilots, ships, captains, and even people on foot to be guided on their journey by data from a dashboard or hand held devices whatsoever you have. Okay, so you can see that it guides planes in and out of the airports at different times and different heights to minimize the chances of the accident. So cameras and sensors to make sure traffic flows smoothly. As now you can see that we are using certain cameras and sensors as well in different organizations, in different institutions. Another very important thing, the use of the GPS system, we can see here in the, as far as online booking is concerned, right? Online booking of flights, trains, and cruises, it has made it easier for people to select their travel options. On the other side, online shopping is very important now, as we are quarantined and we are doing online shopping as well. So online shopping is closely linked with the transport, as goods have to be delivered to domestic as well as international destinations. Here you can see the picture that usually shows by your Google as well, right? And the second picture shows the satellite system through which you are able to see the images, the sounds, and the other things as well. Here the Karim and the Uber, they are usually using such type of the mobiles, right? And all the navigation system they do have, that is the GPS system. Now we are moving towards the transport routes. As far as transport routes are concerned, a route is actually a path between the two places. That is the definition, accurate definition, right? There are thousands of the air and the shipping routes around the world, with the most popular being those that transport the most people and the goods. The most popular air routes are not necessarily the same as the most popular sea routes. There are some of the routes which are very important, which are very popular, just like Silk Route, right? That is the best example in the past as well. Now you can see that when we talk about the air route, right? It has we have the most popular air routes, that is the Atlantic Ocean or transatlantic flights. That is actually consists of the two main things, that is the domestic or the international. When you find out the domestic airlines, you can see that is the Seoul Jeju in South Korea, and Sapporo Tokyo in Japan. And as far as international is concerned, that is the Taipei in Hong Kong and Jakarta in Singapore. So these are the two most popular international air routes that are also wholly within Asia. They are very famous in Hong Kong as well. When you find out the sea route, obviously we are using the sea route to carry a huge amount of the goods, right? To take huge amount of the goods to any other destination or any other country. So they usually carry goods. Asia is the most populous continent, featured heavily like air route. The world's 5 busiest seaport we can see here in the continent. The world's main shipping routes are officially defined by an area comprised of a number of the countries rather than one port or country. So they predominantly carry goods, and the list does not include passenger ships as with the air routes. Asia, and the most populous continent, features heavily. Here you can see the table page number 72 that show the main trade system as well in China or in other parts of the world, UAE as well. Okay. Now in China, in Asia, you can find Shanghai, Hong Kong, Ningbo in China, and Singapore, Shenzhen, Zhongshan in China. Outside the Asia, you can find Jebel and Dubai. The main trade routes you can find in your book as well, that is the Asia North America, Asia North Europe, Asia Mediterranean, Asia Middle East, North Europe, North America, Australia, Far East, Asia East Coast of South America, North Europe, Mediterranean, East Coast, South America, North America, East Coast, and South Americas. Here the major shipping routes around the world, that is the very important here. And why are they important? The reason is that they actually provide shortcut or have calmer waters or provide alternative routes due to political or military reasons. In case of any war, any internal critical situation in any of the country, right, they are using certain ways, or they are allowed to use these ways. Just like Panama Canal that connects the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, that is controlled by the Panama. The second is the Suez Canal that connects the Mediterranean and Red Seas, controlled by Egypt. Strait of Hormuz that actually connects the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf, lies between Iran, United Arab Emirates, and Oman. Strait of Malacca that is also very famous, that runs between the Malay Peninsula and Sumatra, Indonesia. Strait of Magellan that connects the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans at the south of South America, controlled by the Chile. Strait of Dover, you can see here, that runs between Britain and continental Europe, and it is the busiest international shipping seaway in the world. Sunda Strait connects the Java Sea and Indian Ocean, that runs between the Indonesian island of Java and Sumatra. Taiwan Strait that runs between the Taiwan and mainland of China. Okay, now we are moving towards the transport in and around Pakistan. Now here we are going to give a complete focus to the transportation system of Pakistan. Transport actually forms an important part of a country's infrastructure, right? Transport via road, rail, and air provides links between provinces, cities, villages, towns, ports, industrial sectors, agricultural lands, and isolated areas. So transport system of Pakistan is basically, we are going to divide into two parts, that is the major domestic road routes and the major domestic rail routes. Here you can see in the major domestic road routes there are two things which we are discussing here. The first one, in here you can find Indus Highway is the main connecting routes from Karachi to northern areas, Makran coast, right? Karakoram Highway that connects with China, KPK, and Gilgit Grand Trunk Road, right? As far as major domestic rail routes are concerned, here you can find Pakistan locomotives, right? Factory was designed in 1993. They were imported from China and USA. Major domestic air routes of Pakistan are, as we are using it, by road, Khyber Pass and Khojak Pass, the Karakoram Highway, and by rail we are using Samjhota Express and the Zahidan train service. Air, by air route you can find Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, main links with Asia, Europe, Middle East, North America, and Canada. So the seaports are also very important here. Port of Karachi, first I would like to discuss here. Before I start, I want to give you a brief knowledge about it, that the border of our sea is about 1200 kilometer long, and it has three main routes. Pakistan has three main ports, right, through which more than 95% of goods imported and exported to and from Pakistan pass. So these ports are Port of Karachi. As far as Port of Karachi is concerned, it has a very deep water port that handles more than 60% of water's cargo. Right, on the other side there is a Port Qasim, Pakistan's second busiest port, handling about 17 million metric tons of the cargo per year. The third is the Port of Gawada, that is also a very important part, that is directly connecting to China as well, and China is connecting through Gwadar port to the other parts of the world. That is the ongoing development of this port, expected to become one of the Pakistan's most important areas of infrastructure, release loads at Port Qasim and Port of Karachi. Okay, so whatever the things we are taking from other countries by the sea, we are having these port areas to keep it particularly. Now we are moving towards, here we can see the map, right? In the map, you can find the ways from Karachi to Quetta, Faisalabad, Lahore, Islamabad, and Peshawar. Now, the transport and industry. Here we discuss how the industry is affecting our transportation system, or how the transport is affecting our industry. Transport infrastructure is a critical part of a country's economy and geography. And we know it very well that our infrastructure actually based on our progress and the progress of any country. Here, when we talk about the industry, we are having more jobs, we are creating more jobs, right? People can reach their workplaces more easily, they are having good vehicles, right? And the economic activity of towns and the cities improves because of these systems. Efficient transport have great effect on the globalization in terms of goods and services. The best example is CPAC, that will be, it is said that will be the strengthen and the boost the economic growth in the country, which is fundamental to its economic development. For any of the developing country, you can find that it is investing, a country is investing in transport and other infrastructure, and that is important. In the world of the globalization, you can find it means that goods and services can be obtained from many different places. The next is China Pakistan Economic Corridor. This is not a new thing. CPAC, everybody knows it very well, and here you are going to know about the more things about it. That the China Pakistan Economic Corridor involves the construction, the development of about 46 million worth of infrastructure projects. It is expected to create more than 700,000 full-time jobs by 2030 and boost the overall economic growth of Pakistan. It may create bulk of the jobs and boost the overall economic growth. There are some other infrastructure links like railways, highways, gas and oil pipelines. Projects connect Gwadar port to northwest China, due to which China would be able to transport goods to Europe, Africa and America. CPEC agreement was signed in 2015 and construction of an 1100-kilometer motorway between Karachi and Lahore, upgrading the Karakoram highway between Rawalpindi and Chinese border. The extension of Pakistan's railway network into China and expansion of Gwadar port. Thank you very much for listening. Do remember the things, read out the book thoroughly, try to do the conceptual reading and do reading of the facts which are mentioned in your book as well, right? Take care of yourself. Thank you.